Good morning, students. Today we are discussing about the interior of the skull. So outside we are seeing already norma verticalis, norma basalis, norma frontalis, norma occipitalis. We are discussed, but now in this class we are discussing interior, how it is, what are the foramens are there, how it is divided, like anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, posterior cranial fossa. Okay, we'll discuss now. See here. See here. See, after separating this, how it is there in interior. See, interior we can see these skull bones having the inner table is there. This is the outer table. See here, inner table and outer table. This is diploid. This is the diploid is there. So outer table is the compact bone. It is very strong, very difficult to take the break. But whereas the inner table thin and very easy to brittle. At the time when fall down the head injuries. So inner table is very easy to brittle. It compressed to that the meninges. Cut the meninges. See here. This is inner table. This is the outer table. This is a diploid. Diploid is a spongious. Inside we can identify the diploic veins are there. Diploic veins. Here we can identify the diploic veins. There is a different types of the diploic veins. One is the frontal diploic vein, anterior temporal or the parietal diploic veins, posterior temporal parietal diploic veins, occipital diploic vein, small unnamed diploic veins also. So diploic veins are present in the diploid. This is the inner table. This is the outer table. Not only this, inside we can identify this is the frontal crest. Frontal crest. Here we can identify the suture, like that is the sagittal. Sulcus we can identify here. But outside we can identify the sulcus. Suture is there. But inside we can identify it is fused. So it is like a sagittal sulcus is there. Not only this, here also we can identify occipital, frontal here the crest, here the occipital protuberance inside we can identify. And also we can identify on either side of this sulcus we can identify some small pits. See here, small pits are there. These are called the granular pits. This arachnoid granulation, when the pressure is increasing, that arachnoid granulation is compressing and pushed deep to this, then it is forms the granular pits. Granular pits are there. Next, not only this, here also we can identify the parietal foramens on either side of the sagittal sulcus. We can identify the parietal foramens are there. Already we know the outside norma verticalis at the time we had discussed already. The norma, that is the parietal foramens, just in front 2 to 3 centimeters in front of the lumboid lambda. So this is the parietal foramens. These are the granular pits. Not only this, and also we can identify this side. These are the that is a vascular impressions. That is the anterior division of the middle meningeal artery. Meningeal artery anterior division gives this impression. So at the time fall down any head injuries, very easy to brittle. This very thin bone. This is a temporal bone. This squamous part of the temporal bone, very thin, very easy to compressed or break this the anterior division of the middle meningeal artery. This is the interior. Not only this, and also impressions the relation with this. Here the inside, what is this? Endocrinium and pericranium is there. These are connection with passing through the sutures. There is a connection is there. Not only this, and the meninges outside we are seeing the brain is covered with the dura mater. That dura mater is covered inside of this. And also the impression, some of the impressions like this we can identify in the interior of this cranial vault. This is called the cranial vault interior. So after separating this, we are finding after separating this we can identify the interior of the skull. So this skull not a same that it is irregular spaces are there. See here, this is the anterior cranial fossa. Okay, this is, it is look like a butterfly shape. This is a middle cranial fossa. This is a posterior cranial fossa. So it is the bones are, it is visible but not a single. It is having some foramens. See here, one is a big foramen is there, that is a foramen magnum. Some of the foramens are there here and here, and some of the sharp edges are there. So this is not a, here also we can add crista galli, frontal crest. So these are all not equal. It is having the anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, posterior cranial fossa. So cranial cavity divided into three parts: anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, this is a posterior cranial fossa. So what are the boundaries are there for separating this anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa and posterior cranial fossa? See, first we will discuss the anterior cranial fossa here. This anterior cranial fossa from here to, see, which I am showing from here to, it extending lateral side, and posteriorly this is a sharp margin. This is up to here. Next, in the middle part, this sharp edge. So this is the anterior cranial fossa, this part. So what are the boundaries? See, anteriorly it is bounded by the frontal bones. These are the frontal bones. See here also we can identify inner table, outer table, diploid. So it is if it is a break this, we can finding in the frontal air sinus connection is there. So anteriorly bounded by the frontal bones. These are the two frontal bones, and posteriorly bounded by the, this is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. This side also lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. These are the frontal bones. In the middle we can identify that this anterior clinoid process, these two, and here we can identify the optic canals, these two. This is called the jugum sphenoide bone in the center. Okay, these are the boundaries of the anterior cranial fossa. We'll discuss now. See here, in the center structures, this is called the frontal crest. This is called the crista galli. Crista galli, this area, this thin plate, cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. Cribriform plate means it is a sieve-like structure. All foramens, like a small foramens are present inside of this. This is connection with the nose. So this is called the frontal crest, crista galli, cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, and jugum sphenoid in the central structures. And either side, this is called the orbital plate of the frontal bones. So here the crista galli, first we will discuss the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. This is center is the crista galli. It is look like a hook-like structure. It gives the attachment, this and the frontal crest give the attachment anteriorly, that is the falx cerebrum. While to remove the brain, first we are cut this the sagittal, the parallel side of this attachment. Falx cerebrum is attached to here the crista galli and frontal crest. It is a hook-like structure. Next, another side, we can have cribriform plate. Receive like small foramens are there. Through these foramens, there are 16 to 20 nerve fibers of the olfactory nerve fibers going to reach to the mucosa of the nose. This separate the floor of the anterior cranial fossa to the roof of the nasal cavity. Next, not only this, here we can identify small foramens. Anteriorly we can identify the anterior ethmoidal canals, and both sides posteriorly posterior ethmoidal canals are there. Through this, and also here see, this is foramen cecum that separate the frontal crest and the crista galli. Next, this is the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. So what are the structures passing through the foramen cecum? It is sometimes it is present, sometimes it is absent. But if it is present, this foramen cecum, through this part, upper part of the nose, small vein drains into the superior sagittal sinus. So through this small vein, it is connection with from the nose venous drainage to the superior sagittal sinus. And here the canals, anterior ethmoidal canal, posterior ethmoidal canal. Through this anterior ethmoidal vessels and nerves, posterior ethmoidal vessels and nerves passing through these foramens. Next, here we can add olfactory bulb. Here the sulcus is there, the fossa. Olfactory bulb, while removing, see, While in the brain, that alpha bulb is located here. Next, we can identify the here jugum spinaide. Jugum spinaide. Next, this is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. This is a very sharp margin. This separates the anterior cranial fossa and posterior middle cranial fossa. This and cribriform plate, that is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, going towards the middle side, make a sharp margin like a hook like. This is called the anterior clinoid process. This is going to make a roof of the optic canal. This is the optic canal. Through this, we can identify the second cranial nerve is passing. Not only second cranial nerve, and ophthalmic artery also passing and going to supplies to the eyeball region. Second cranial nerve, you knows that. While cutting this first cranial nerve, we are cutting the optic chiasma here. Chiasmatics, optic chiasma. Right side goes to the left side optic nerve. Left side goes to the right side. This is the optic canal. This is the foramen. This is the foramen. Next, this floor of this anterior cranial fossa found by the orbital plates of the frontal bones. It is a elevated structure. This separates the floor of the anterior cranial fossa into the roof of the roof. See, this is the roof of the orbital cavity. This is the orbital cavity. So this is the orbital plate separates this orbital plate of the frontal bone separate the anterior cranial fossa from the orbital cavity. This is and also here we can identify the brain orbital surface of the frontal lobe of the cerebrum is lodging here. Here we can identify that the orbital surface of the frontal lobe of the cerebrum is located here. It is lodging here. So this is the anterior cranial fossa. These are look like a steps. First, second, third, like this is anterior cranial fossa. It is the most somewhat. It is the highest when compared to the middle cranial fossa. So this is the anterior cranial fossa. Next, we will discuss the middle cranial. So once again, I will repeat these foramens here. One foramen is the foramen cecum. This is sometimes it is absent, sometimes it is present. If it is present through this upper part of the nose, it is connection with the vein. It is transmits and drains into the superior sagittal sinus. Here Cristae galli is going to attach to the falx cerebrum. Here anterior ethmoidal foramens and posterior ethmoidal foramens through anterior and posterior ethmoidal vessels and nerves. And here we can identify the optic canal. That is the second cranial nerve is passing and ophthalmic artery. These are the anterior clinoid process. Anterior clinoid process. Next, now we'll discuss the middle cranial fossa. See how it is look like. It is look like a butterfly shape. Butterfly shape. In the center part is the body of the sphenoid bone. This is the body of the sphenoid bone. This is we can find in the greater wing of the sphenoid bone. The squamous part of the temporal bone. Squamous part of the temporal bone. Greater wing of the sphenoid bone. This is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Next. So what are the boundaries of this middle cranial fossa? Separates how from the anterior, how from the posterior. See, in the center we can identify this is the body of the sphenoid bone. Centrally this is jugum spinaide, anterior clinoid process. This is going to this is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone up to here. This is squamous part of the temporal bone, and posteriorly this is a petrous part of the temporal bone. This is a petrous part of the temporal bone, squamous part of the temporal bone. This is a lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. This is a greater wing of the sphenoid bone. In the central, this is a dorsum sellae. This is called the dorsum sellae. This is called the clivus. It is a part of the posterior cranial fossa. See, dorsum sellae. These two margins, that is called the posterior clinoid process. This is posterior clinoid process. Body of the sphenoid bone. In the center, we can identify the hypophyseal fossa. Here, the pituitary gland is lodging. So, how it is bounding, how it separates from anterior and posterior. See, center body of the sphenoid bone. This is a lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Squamous part of the temporal bone. And this is called the petrous part of the temporal bone. Posteriorly, anteriorly, lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. The central is jugum spinae, posteriorly dorsum sellae. That is the posterior clinoid process. Like it is look like a butterfly shape. So now we'll discuss what are the foramens are there present in the middle cranial fossa. Middle cranial fossa. So here already we have discussed this optic canal. Next, see here, I lift. See below this, below the this lesser wing of the sphenoid bone and anterior clinoid process, there is a comma shaped fissure, that is the foramen is there. That is called the superior orbital fissure. Superior orbital fissure. This below this. See anterior clinoid process, lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Below we can identify the foramen is there. That is called the comma shaped structure. That is superior orbital fissure. Superior orbital. What are the structures are passing through this superior orbital fissure? This superior orbital fissure it is look like a comma shape. Middle part is a rounded, lateral part is a narrow. Lateral part is a narrow. See this below this superior lesser wing of the sphenoid bone we can identify. That is the superior orbital fissure bounded superiorly by the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone and posteriorly by the greater wing of the sphenoid bone, laterally by this, that is a temporal bone. That is next structures are passing from lateral to medial side. From the lateral part, one is the nerve is there, that is the lacrimal nerve, that is a branch of the ophthalmic division of the fifth cranial nerve. Next is the frontal nerve and fourth cranial nerve, trochlear nerve. From lateral side, lateral part of the superior orbital fissure, structure passing, what are they? Lacrimal nerve, frontal nerve, trochlear nerve, superior ophthalmic vein. Superior ophthalmic vein. So here fourth cranial nerve is passing and fifth cranial nerve division, lacrimal nerve also and frontal nerve also passing through this lateral part of the superior orbital fissure. And next middle part. In the middle part we can identify the third cranial nerve, superior and inferior division of the third cranial oculomotor nerve. In between we can identify the nasociliary nerve. Nasociliary nerve above is the superior, below is the inferior division of the oculomotor nerves and sixth cranial nerve, obtuse nerve. Next is the medial part, that is the rounded part. Through this only one vein, that is the inferior ophthalmic vein. See what you are understanding? So through this superior orbital fissure and optic canal, see here this is optic canal and superior orbital fissure, or what are the structures which I told, that those are going to reach to the orbital cavity, going to supply to the extraocular muscles, that is the eyeball. So once again I will repeat that. This is very very important viva question. Sometimes we are expecting short answer also, short question. So this is the comma shaped foramen, that is bounded anteriorly by the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, posteriorly by the greater wing of the sphenoid bone. This is here we can just below this anterior clinoid process we can identify. If you lifting this we can identify. See there. Okay. Next lateral part, the nerve structures are lacrimal nerve, frontal nerve, trochlear nerve, superior ophthalmic vein. Whereas the middle part, superior upper and lower division of the oculomotor nerve. Next is the nasociliary nerve, obtuse nerve. Whereas the middle part is rounded, wider, that is the inferior ophthalmic vein. These are the structures passing through the superior orbital fissure. Next is the just posterolateral side, we can identify the small rounded foramen is there. That is called the foramen rotundum. Just see here. Here we can identify. See which I kept the pencil. Just posterolaterally we can identify the foramen rotundum. Rotundum means rounded. Through this foramen, that is a maxillary division of the fifth cranial nerve is passing and going to supply and enter into the pterygopalatine fissure and pterygopalatine fossa. Then going to supply to the maxillary region. Next posterolateral side, we can identify oval shaped foramen is there. That is a foramen ovale. Foramen ovale. Through this, the four structures are important structures are passing from the middle cranial fossa. One is the mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, emissary vein. This emissary vein drains into the connection with the cavernous sinus. So four structures passing through the foramen ovale. This is very important viva question. That is the structures male, M-A-L-E, male structures are passing. M means mandibular nerve, A means accessory meningeal artery, L means lesser petrosal nerve, E means emissary vein. And also, and posterolaterally small foramen is there. This is called the that is the foramen spinosum. Foramen spinosum. Through this middle meningeal artery is passing. Next is the meningeal branch of mandibular nerve. Meningeal branch of the mandibular nerve is passing. This is a small one, foramen spinosum, foramen ovale, and here we can identify the foramen rotundum. If you are keeping the probe, that is a tar, a small stick, that foramen rotundum we won't identify it in the base of the skull region. This is enter into the pterygopalatine fissure and fossa. But whereas if you are keeping pencil or the tar on the small stick, it is enter into the infratemporal fossa or the structure region. This is spinosum also. See here, we can identify another one, foramen lacerum. Foramen lacerum. Foramen lacerum. See, it is a irregular surface. This is a irregular surface. Through this, see, posterior part is there and medial part is there. Through this, we can identify the lateral part is a narrow. See here, lateral part is a narrow, middle part is rounded. This lateral part is, it is filled with the cartilage. It is filled with the lower part is filled with the cartilage. Sometimes we are identified the meningeal branch of the ascending pharyngeal artery and emissary vein drains. This emissary vein connection with the cavernous sinus. Here we can identify the cavernous sinus. Next, and also we can identify foramen vasalis, but here it is not present. Sometimes we are identifying the foramen vasalis. If it is present, that is having the emissary vein is passing, that is connection with the cavernous sinus. This is a foramen cecum. And also medial part, see, rounded is the through this internal carotid artery. It is extending through from outside to enter into the cranial cavity and going to make a circle of Willis here. So this is the carotid canal. This is the carotid canal made foramen lacerum, foramen spinosum, foramen ovale, foramen rotundum. So, and superior orbital fissure. This is the optic canal or optic foramen. This is the petrous part of the temporal bone. This is squamous part of the temporal bone. Greater wing of the sphenoid bone. This is the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Next, in the center part, see here, this is the body of the sphenoid bone. The center fossa is there, that is called the hypophyseal fossa or sella turcica. Pituitary gland is lodging here. Pituitary gland. While removing the brain, we are cutting the stalk of the pituitary gland. The that is the infundibulum of the pituitary gland. We are separating from the pituitary gland. So here in the cranial cavity we can identify the pituitary gland is there. And also here the anterior clinoid process, posterior clinoid process. This is covered with the, that is a diaphragmatic cella. The diaphragmatic cella separate the brain from the pituitary gland. So this is a middle cranial fossa. This is, it is look like a butterfly. This is the anterior cranial fossa, anteriorly bounded by the frontal bones, posteriorly a serving of the sphenoid bones. But whereas the middle cranial fossa, between the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone and pretemporal temporal bone and squamous part of the temporal bone. This is look like a butterfly shape. So these are the foramens present in the middle cranial fossa. And whereas the anterior cranial fossa, foramen cecum is there, anterior ethmoidal and posterior ethmoidal foramens are there. See, if it is break this ethmoidal anterior cranial fossa, it is connection with the nose. So sometimes if it is break of this the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone, so we can identify the fluid. If it is any accident takes place, if any fluid is passing through this, that is a cerebrospinal fluid is there. If it is any breakage and any accident takes place, if it is the fluid is passing sometimes the nose, sometimes the ear also. So sometimes we are identified here. So this is anterior cranial fossa, this is a middle cranial fossa. So today only we are discussing this anterior and middle cranial fossa and foramens. What are the foramens? What are the structures passing through this? And what are the boundaries of the anterior cranial fossa and middle cranial fossa? Tomorrow we will discuss the posterior cranial fossa. So thank you. So while reading, while watching this, just hold the cranial cavity of skull. Just to whatever discuss now, just to go through the skull. If you are without the skull, it is not understanding. So you keep in front the skull bones and then only watch this video. Then easy to understand what are the foramens are there, what are the structures passing in the textbook also given. Just go through all these foramens. Foramens very very important. They are asking in the Viva questions. So thank you very much.